Band of Horses are an American indie rock band that have been in existence since 2004. And unlike some indie bands where indie describes their sound, for them it not only describes the sound, but genuinely describes the fact that they've been on indie labels, I think pretty much for the whole of their existence. They're led by a guy called Ben Bridwell, who seems to be their only really stable member, who's their main singer-songwriter. But they were stable for about 10 years, for a while. And they have produced 6 albums so far. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the first album by Band of Horses, and it's my first time listening to it. I have reviewed one of their albums before, which was their second album, which was Cease to Begin, which I gave a 6.8, but that was 2.5 years ago, so I don't particularly remember it. So I would describe this as indie rock with a guitar basis, which is, I don't feel that's particularly contentious. It's competent enough. It's not particularly unusual for indie rock of this kind of era. This is crazy to think that this is nearly 20 years ago. There's some of the tracks that have got kind of finger-picked acoustic guitar on it, some nice gentler stuff, which has a feeling of mild sadness to it. Musically, so it's not, I would say, particularly unusual or, it doesn't surprise me, but it's not unpleasant either. The songs kind of feel like they're about textures rather than about tunes or inventive riffs or structures musically. So in the last review, I did look back at it. I referenced Coldplay, and his voice sounds a bit like that, especially at the start of the first track. I thought, oh, that really sounds like Chris Martin from Coldplay. But later on, less so. And there's something about the voice or the sound of the voice that I feel that I've come across before, and not just in the previous review, because in the previous review, I said exactly the same thing. So there's something about the sound of his voice or the processing that's done on his voice that makes me feel like there's other stuff like this. But I still can't remember what that might be. He's got a voice so it does have a particular sound. It's got a high resonance that cuts through. And it's got a feeling that feels a bit kind of disconnected and unemotive. The songs are about, I'm not sure. Now, I'm actually going to quote something that Ben Bridwell, who's the singer and the songwriter, said about the songs. He said, a lot of these songs didn't really come from any lyric writing, let alone any singing ability. A lot of the ways the words are sung were meant to hide or mask what's being said. There are definitely words. I wrote them down on paper and everything, which I enjoyed as a quote. And I took to mean he's not really focusing on what the songs are about, particularly as just producing some words to make a song. I quite enjoyed listening to it, and from the score, I've given it more so than I did their second album, but I still wouldn't say hugely. It might appeal to people who are really into the guitar indie sound, which isn't a sound that particularly excites me. So there might be people who think this is brilliant. I'm guessing for all these albums on this list, there are people who think that is brilliant. So the next review I'm going to do on this channel is of the Tom Waits album, Orphans, Brawlers, Ballers, and that's it from me for now.